The sky above New Delhi burned crimson as the Devourer ships descended through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars of apocalypse. Commander Sarah Chen watched from the ruins of what had once been the Global Defense Initiative headquarters, her knuckles white against the grip of her plasma rifle. 3 years. 3 years since the monsters had arrived, and humanity had been reduced to scattered pockets of resistance, hiding in the bones of their once great civilization. The Devourers were unlike anything humanity had encountered in their brief exploration of the cosmos. Towering creatures of chitin and shadow, they stood 12 feet tall with 6 limbs that could tear through reinforced steel like paper. Their ships were organic nightmares, pulsing with bioluminescent veins that seemed to mock the cold machinery humans had built. They had come without warning, without negotiation, without mercy. They came only to consume. "Commander," whispered Lieutenant Raj Patel, crawling through the rubble beside her. "The final protocol is ready. We're just waiting on your signal." Sarah nodded, her jaw set with grim determination. The final protocol. Humanity's last desperate gambit. 3 years of running, hiding, dying, and learning. The Devourers thought humans were just another primitive species to harvest, another world to strip bare. They had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated humanity's capacity for spite. Dr. Yuki Tanaka had discovered it 6 months ago, hidden in the wreckage of a Devourer bioship that had crashed in the Himalayas. The creatures weren't just organic, they were networked, connected through quantum-entangled neurons that spanned across their entire species. Every Devourer was linked to every other, sharing information instantaneously across light years. It made them efficient, coordinated, and utterly devastating. It also made them vulnerable. "All units report ready," came the crackling voice of Captain Marcus Webb over the emergency channel. Across the globe, in the ruins of Moscow, São Paulo, Sydney, and Lagos, the last remnants of humanity's military forces waited in the shadows. Not armies anymore, but something more dangerous. Survivors with nothing left to lose. Sarah raised her wrist communicator. "This is Commander Chen to all units. 3 years ago, they took our world. They took our families. They took our future." Her voice was steady, cold as the void between stars. "Today we take it back. Today we show them what happens when you corner a species that climbed out of the dirt and reached for the stars." She paused, looking at the Devourer hive ship hovering over the city, its grotesque organic hull pulsing with alien life. "Activate the recursion protocol. For Earth, for humanity, for every soul they consumed." Across the planet, in 17 hidden locations, modified Devourer neural tissue began to pulse with artificial signals. Dr. Tanaka's team had spent months reverse engineering their quantum communication system, understanding how their hive mind processed information. The Devourers shared everything: memories, sensations, tactical data. They also shared viruses. The recursion protocol wasn't a biological weapon. It was something far more elegant, far more human. It was a paradox wrapped in code, delivered through the Devourer's own neural network, a self-referencing loop that forced their quantum-linked minds to process an impossible equation, a thought that contradicted itself infinitely. Their greatest strength, their perfect communication, became a trap they couldn't escape. The effect was instantaneous and global. The Devourer ships began to scream, not with sound but with electromagnetic pulses that crackled across every frequency. Sarah watched as the hive ship above Delhi shuddered, its bioluminescent veins flickering erratically. On the ground, the towering monsters stumbled, their 6 limbs spasming as their networked consciousness tore itself apart from within. "It's working," Raj breathed, barely believing his own words. From orbit to the deepest hive beneath Earth's crust, every Devourer mind connected to the network began to cascade into system failure. They had evolved to share everything, to be one consciousness distributed across countless bodies. They had never imagined a species capable of weaponizing that unity against them. Humanity had spent millennia fighting itself, learning to deceive, to strategize, to turn strengths into weaknesses. The Devourers had evolved in isolation, perfect predators who had never faced prey that could think like them, that could turn their own biology into a weapon. The hive ship above Delhi listed to one side, its organic engines failing. Sarah and her team dove for cover as the massive vessel came crashing down into the ruins of the old city, sending up a mushroom cloud of dust and debris. Across the planet, the same scene repeated. The Devourers' perfect coordination became their extinction. In orbit, the last of their harvest ships drifted, lifeless hulks filled with creatures that had killed themselves trying to process an impossible thought. The quantum network that had made them unstoppable had become their tomb. Sarah emerged from cover, coughing in the dust. Around her, human fighters were emerging from hiding spots, weapons raised, scanning for threats. But the threats were gone. The monsters lay still, their bodies already beginning to decay without the network to sustain them. "Commander," Yuki's voice came over the communicator, tinged with exhaustion and disbelief. "Global readings confirm complete network collapse. They're gone. All of them." Sarah looked up at the sky where the red had begun to fade, revealing the blue atmosphere of Earth once more. Somewhere she could hear cheering from the scattered resistance cells, the sound of humans realizing they had survived the unsurvivable. But as she stood in the ruins of her world, Sarah felt no triumph, only the weight of what had been lost, and the grim satisfaction of knowing that humanity, bloodied and broken, had done what it always did best. They had survived. They had adapted. They had overcome. The Devourers had brought devastation to Earth, thinking humans were just another prey species. They learned too late that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or numbers. It was the stubborn, irrational refusal to accept extinction. It was 3 billion years of evolution that had taught them one simple lesson: never give up. As the sun broke through the clearing smoke, Sarah Chen allowed herself one small smile. The reconstruction would take generations. The scars would never fully heal. But Earth was theirs again, and somewhere in the cosmos, any species monitoring this small blue planet would learn a new lesson. Humanity was not to be trifled with. They had ended the alien monsters that brought devastation to their world. Now they would rebuild. And they would remember,